Welcome to the program. Comrades and friends, Global Weekly News, serial number 193. First, Israel and the United States bomb Iran. Having just formed the Board of Peace, the United States and Israel have begun the board's first war, this time on Iran. The US-Israel attack launched early on 28 February on sites in Iran has already caused devastation, including the deaths of at least 180 little girls from an elementary school in Minab. The death toll has crossed 1,000. In fact, the attack on Iran on 28 February was not the first strike on Iran. Israel and the United States have been in a state of war against Iran for many decades, either through direct military strikes such as in June 2025 or through the long prolonged sanctions on Iran since 1996. Neither Israel nor the US value the United Nations Charter, whose Article 2 has been routinely violated by both. Neither face condemnation in the UN Security Council. For decades now, the US and its global North allies as terrorism and its government as dictatorial. For decades now, the US and its global North allies call Iran as a terrorist country and its government as dictatorial. They have essentially created the argument that attempts to overthrow the government in Tehran of Iran. They say it is legitimate even if it is a violation of the UN Charter. However, US President Donald Trump does not have the appetite for a long war. He seeks quick victories that can quickly give him a headline for the news cycle, like the kidnapping of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife on 3rd January 2026 and the executive order to prevent the sale of oil to Cuba on 30th January. Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei and 40 other main leaders were killed by US attack. Despite Trump's call for regime change, so far there has been no change in political leadership. In January 2020, United States assassinated General Qasem Soleimani in Baghdad, Iraq. General Soleimani was the head of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and the architect of the Axis of Resistance. If the US or Israel tried to strike Iran, then Iran's close allies from Hezbollah of Lebanon and Houthis of Yemen would strike both Israel and US military bases. The killing of Soleimani was a blow to the Axis, but 3 years later, a set of events disrupted the Axis that he had designed. Israel's genocide against Palestine weakened Hamas. Its war in Lebanon disrupted Hezbollah, especially the assassination of Syed Hassan Nasrallah in September 2024 and the installation of the former Al-Qaeda leader Ahmad al-Shara as president of Syria in January 2025 led to the removal of all pro-Palestine groups from the country. US struck Iran in June 2025. Iran has been enriching uranium for peaceful purposes of nuclear energy. Iran does not intend to produce nuclear weapons. International Atomic Energy Agency stated that there are no signs of producing nuclear weapons in Iran. US intention is to install a puppet pro-US government in Iran. Iran war is not going to end soon. It is going to be a prolonged war. There are nearly 10 crore people in Iran, a large section of whom will defend the republic till their death. Down with barbaric Trump of USA. We will see the uprisings of people all over the world against the imperialism, terrorism of USA and after effects like price rise and inflation in everywhere. Second item, elections in Nepal. Mass protests largely known as the Generation Z uprising, Gen Z uprising, erupted in September 2025 after government decided to ban social media in Nepal due to the non-implementation of new regulations by the government. However, the uprising was seen largely as a reflection of a deeper anger among the youth towards failure of the ruling classes in addressing some of the basic issues in Nepal such as unemployment and poverty. The uprising, in which around 77 people were killed across Nepal, led to the resignation of the then Prime Minister K.P. Sharma Oli, who was leading a centrist leftist alliance. Around 14% of the Nepalese working age population is now living abroad, working in India or in the Gulf or elsewhere. The remittances they send to Nepal constitute around 24% of the Nepal's total GDP. An interim government under the leadership of the former Chief Justice of Nepal, Susila Karki, was formed in 2025. On 5th March, national elections took place. 1.9 crore voters were there. Nepal has a mixed form of electoral system with both first past the post, that whoever gets maximum number of votes, and proportional representation being used to elect the members of the parliament. Candidates for 165 out of 275 seats are elected under the first past the post system, while the remaining 110 seats will be elected under a proportional representation, considering the country as a single constituency. Four major parties, K.P. Sharma Oli-led Communist Party of Nepal, Unified Marxist-Leninist, its former coalition partner, Nepali Congress, the Nepali Communist Party, which was formed after the merger of dozens of left parties last year, and the centrist Rashtriya Swatantra Party. Now, according to the initial results, Rashtriya Swatantra Party is leading in majority of seats. Counting is still on. Third item, comrades. Niger and Algeria rebuild ties. The presidents of Niger and Algeria met in Algiers in Africa on February 15-16. Both the governments framed the visit as a turning point in bilateral relations. Relations between Algeria and Niger deteriorated sharply in April 2025 after Algeria shot down a drone linked to Mali, a key member of the Sahel Alliance. Mali, Niger and Burkina Faso recalled their ambassadors from Algiers. Against this, the Algiers meeting sought to repair the ties. Both presidents reaffirmed adherence to core diplomatic principles, respect for sovereignty, territorial integrity, non-interference, and African-led solutions to African crises. Algeria and Niger committed to fast-tracking major structural and connecting projects, including particular concentration on electrifying rural border areas. Fourth item, comrades. U.S. announces the start of military operations in Ecuador. On 3rd March, the U.S. Southern Command announced on X that U.S. military forces had participated in actions alongside Ecuadorian security forces. These actions are to confront narco-terrorists in the region. Ecuadorian President Daniel Noboa, the right-wing politician, wrote in a statement, "In March, we will carry out joint operations with our allies in the region, including the United States. The safety of Ecuadorians is our priority, and we will fight to achieve peace in every corner of the country." At the end of 2025, Daniel Noboa's government suffered a shocking electoral defeat in the November referendum. Among the questions asked was whether foreign military bases should be allowed on Ecuador's territory, thereby reforming the constitution that prohibits them. Without consulting with the parliament and the people, Ecuador government has allowed deployment of US forces in Ecuador. Fifth item, Spanish government stands up to US threats. United States President Trump recently floated a possible cut to trade relations with Spain over its refusal to support illegal US-Israel attacks on Iran. Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez said that Spain would not be intimidated into endorsing warmongering narratives or breaking international law. He said no to war. The coalition government in Spain, headed by Sanchez's Socialist Workers' Party, has positioned itself differently from other European countries regarding ongoing crisis in the world. Since October 2023, like Slovenia and Ireland, Spain spoke out against Israel's attacks on Gaza. Pedro Sanchez stated that war on Iran would not result in a more just international order, nor will it lead to higher wages, better public services, or a healthier environment. Sanchez also stated, what is innocent is to think that violence is the solution. It is also innocent to believe that democracies or respect between nations spring from ruins, or to think that blind and servile followership is a form of leadership. Spain is not alone, as millions of people across Europe, North America, West Asia, and the rest of the world do not want a future with more war or more uncertainty, but more peace and prosperity. Sixth item, comrades. Ecuadorians rally in solidarity with Cuba. On 4th March, the right-wing government of Daniel Noboa declared Cuban ambassador and his diplomatic staff persona non grata, that is, unwanted persons within the country, and ordered they leave the country within 48 hours. No explanation or justification has been given for the decision. Ecuadorians rally in solidarity with Cuba and condemn the expulsion of diplomatic staff by pro-US President Daniel Noboa. The Cuban government said in a statement shortly after, this is an unfriendly and unprecedented act that significantly damages the historic relations of friendship and cooperation between our two countries and peoples. This action also demonstrates the current Ecuadorian government's contempt for the diplomatic practices and courtesies observed by the international community. Seventh item, comrades. United Arab Emirates billionaire questions Trump. Khalaf Ahmed Al Habtoor is a prominent United Arab Emirates billionaire. He published an open letter to Trump. He put up many questions on Trump. Who gave you the authority to drag our nation into a war with Iran? Who gave you permission to turn our region into a battlefield? Was this your decision or Netanyahu's pressure? Did you calculate collateral damage before firing? You placed Gulf Cooperation Council countries at the heart of danger. They didn't choose. Your Board of Peace initiative was funded by Gulf states. Now we are getting attacked. Where did that money go? You promised no wars. You have conducted operations in 7 countries: Somalia, Iraq, Yemen, Nigeria, Syria, Iran, and Venezuela. 658 airstrikes in your first year back. Biden's entire term, only so many attacks. War costs possibly total $21,000 crore. Whose money is that? Your approval ratings is down 9% in 400 days. Americans were promised peace, but they are getting war funded by their taxes. Before the ink has dried on your Board of Peace initiative, we find ourselves facing military escalation that endangers the entire region. So where did those initiatives go? The letter ends thus: true leadership is not measured by war decisions, but by wisdom, respect for others, and pushing toward achieving peace. Eighth item, comrades. Left politicians call for Europe to exit NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization, while government leaders in Europe offered support for illegal US-Israel attacks on Iran. The regional left move insists on restraint and an end to the war. The hypocrisy of the European Union narrative was not lost on Europe's left MPs. Addressing the European Council President, MPs from the Spanish Progressive Party Podemos criticized the overall European Union reaction. The offensive carried out by the US and Israel, two nuclear powers, represents a crime of aggression and a serious attack against the UN Charter, Iran's sovereignty, and regional and global peace. Similar calls were echoed by the Communist Party of Greece and All Workers Militant Front, PAME, who demanded the closure of US bases in Greek territory. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer announced that the two British air bases in Cyprus would be used to back US-Israel attacks. Trade unions criticized government actions in Britain, reaffirming they stand against all unlawful wars. By allowing United States forces to use British bases to bomb Iran, Keir Starmer is echoing Tony Blair's obedience to Washington, dragging Britain into yet another costly, catastrophic and illegal war. The left MP Jeremy Corbyn said, the US has bombarded and destroyed Afghanistan, Iraq and Libya. In none of these countries, the attacks have not brought democracy or promoted human rights, the statement by the Workers' Party of Belgium stated. Lastly, comrades, global condemnation of US-Israel war on Iran. In Turkey, US-Israel flags were burnt. Canada Communist Party, Pakistan's Mazdoor Kisan Party conducted demonstrations against the US-Israel attack. In India, in Kerala, massive demonstrations took place. In Tamil Nadu and elsewhere in India, demonstrations took place. Salam, comrades. See you next week. Thank you.